Hey, hey, what's really going on? Bitcoin, cryptocurrency today. Going to be taking a look at XLM, Stellar Lumen. Going to be taking a look at some of these key technical aspects of price action moving forward. Going to be assessing these pivotal levels of support and resistance. I believe we're going to be interacting with in the kind of very near future here as we are printing these higher highs. The uptrend still looks quite bullish, although we are at some pretty thick resistance, and so perhaps a pullback is pending. What are your thoughts on XLM's price action moving forward? What are you doing with your Stellar? Do you hold Stellar? Do you trade Stellar? Do you think Stellar is going up to the moon, or do you think we're coming back down to where we came from? Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Jumping right into it. To recap, this very bullish price action of up and then sideways, we have prices after coming out of phases of accumulation. We have, very aggressive upward and then consolidation sideways in a kind of downward manner before finding support at a key level, bottoming and then rallying upward aggressively again. We had like several phases of up, sideways, up, and then now we're trying to come out of our what appears to be longest sideways of these kind of three sort of accumulation phases. We rallied upward, printed some higher highs, got rejected back down into that accumulation zone, only to bounce yet again, set some even further higher highs, and so now we seem to be having a mild repeat at this kind of bit of exhaustion here, and so I suspect prices could kind of come back sideways, and I have some kind of midterm sort of local bearish targets that we could very much interact with if we do start closing downward, and so I suspect if price action is still quite bullish and is looking like it wants to continue upward, and I suspect we can see the 90 cent to the dollar level for XLM very soon here, although it may have to take some time to reaccumulate sideways before kind of continuing upward, as XLM does have a history of having perhaps over a month, even if you want to consider this a sideways, perhaps almost over 2 months of like sideways accumulation before it kind of continues upward. And so I mean, we are still quite bullish, although this resistance might bring us very much down to my kind of short-term bearish targets are above my slapping, kicking, and shoving zone here around 60 cents. Another kind of bearish target is 55 cents at the low kind of thing, which would be a higher low relative to 54 cents. And then so some very bullish price levels we could consolidate in if we start to say we bounce off of 65 cents and we start closing above 69 cents. I can get ultimately way more short-term bullish, and I would very much suspect the uptrend is like to continue over the next kind of coming week. So we are in a very kind of pivotal zone here. I suspect this range just under 69 cents and above 65 cents to be a kind of pivotal slapping and shoving zone, kicking, spitting, and punching area that price action will not want to stay in for very long. I feel like we're going to start closing above or below very, very quickly here. I personally suspect perhaps below, and we could see my kind of midterm bearish targets there. So when we consider EngineeringRobo along with these Fibugatti lines, we can see price action correlating nicely with these kind of zones here. We have the 0.786 line around 63 cents. We have the 0.618 line around 50 cents, a very, very bearish target that we could consolidate toward if momentum were to change in a more aggressive manner. Although with the super buy for moon early bird still supporting price action upward, I suspect we can interact with some higher highs pretty soon here. And so when we consider, in addition to all these suggestions, the fear and greed index, we can see we've had yet another interaction with the FOMO zone here. Our third technical interaction with the FOMO zone is in this kind of past kind of week. And so the first time we got rejected off of it was the 13th of February in 2021. Price action sold off very quickly. We came downward, accumulated sideways, rallied back up to interact with it again on the 13th of April. So funny, the 13th of February and then the 13th of April. And then so now we've reacted yet again. We've had a third rejection from this FOMO zone here in the past month, and so I mean, FOMO zone is a very volatile state, and so price action above these ranges has very, very increased sell pressure, and so a lot of the times what occurs when price action enters the FOMO zone, we get up in it, and then we usually come right back down because the sell pressure is so high, and traders typically are selling up in this zone here and up in this range. Although FOMO is present, the fear of missing out, if the fear of missing out is strong enough, the coin can stay bullish, and prices can become very, very volatile in both directions. And so the sell pressure is very high, causing very volatile spikes downward, but the FOMO can be high enough to cause very volatile spikes upward, and so price action up in the FOMO zone there can get very, very unpredictable, and you have to watch out before jumping into a project when it's kind of up in that range. And so we're still looking bullish on XLM. I suspect price action is looking to fight with the FOMO zone and get some time up in there after these several rejections. I mean, perhaps this rejection is significant enough to bring us kind of downward. And say we start seeing some sell signals print, I could be more kind of midterm bearish, and perhaps we could see another couple months of sideways. Although the uptrend is looking like it is likely to continue after a kind of another bounce off of some key kind of support levels there. I suspect the 0.786 at 63 cents, another target at 60 cents, and then a bottom around 55 cents, in my opinion. When we consider the price of XLM against the price of Bitcoin, Bitcoin's still trying to figure itself out. There's a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt in the market, and so Bitcoin is having some pretty volatile moves up and down. XLM is looking still quite bullish, in my opinion, as we are blasting through this big slapping zone of significant resistance that was indicated with, that we interacted with at the 28th of November, and then again at the 15th of February. Upon our kind of third interaction with that kind of zone of 1204 Satoshi and under 1289 Satoshi, we were able to finally break upward, start closing, and interact with my next resistance found around 1561. And so with that kind of slight, not necessarily a blow off top, but that little mild exhaustion at resistance does suggest that we could very well find price action trading sideways in this range for a period of time before kind of continuing upward. And so like I said, we are still quite bullish, although we're at resistance, and so perhaps some sideways is necessary, and so some more buying opportunities at a lower level will present themselves. When we consider EngineeringRobo along with these FIBA zucchinis, FIBA Lamborghinis, FIBA McSweeney's bacon beef weenies, we have some more bullish price action. We have price action above the 200 daily moving average, this buy 2, a moon. If I hover my cursor over this sell 4, we have the buy 4 there as well. That is also what colors these candles green. So we have the 3 buy signals present along with price action above the 200 daily moving average, and we have prices correlating nicely with these kind of FIBA Lamborghini lines. So I suspect a nice kind of short-term bearish pullback target to be that 0.786 line at 1348 Satoshi, or at the top of my slapping zone there at 1289 Satoshi. And so far we're still looking quite bullish, although I suspect those to be this kind of two kind of short-term bullish kind of pullback areas. A much more bearish short-term pullback zone would be the bottom of this kicking, slapping, spitting, and punching area around 1205 Satoshi. Although, like I said, we're still looking quite bullish against Bitcoin, and prices are likely to hold. When we consider Bitcoin against USDT, what's really going on here? We have some even more crazier price action. So we have prices breaking downward and continuing downward, and what appears to be heading toward that traded 6.18 around 41.5. So 41,500 is going to be our next kind of bounce target, which will be a lower low relative to swing lows back at the end of February of this year. And so that will be ultimately perhaps quite short-term bearish in my opinion, and we could see some prolonged sideways along these kind of low levels before continuing upward. And so for the past, while I've always been very bullish on Bitcoin, for the past kind of few weeks I've been suggesting this pattern as a break downward, a retest upward, and a continuation downward. And so from what we're seeing, that is what's playing out. And so I suggested this as a possibility that was not impossible for Bitcoin, no matter how bullish I was. The technicals suggested that a break downward was to be expected, even though there was a super buy 2, buy 4. Bullish. EngineeringRobo was very bullish on Bitcoin. I was very bullish on Bitcoin, although the technicals suggested that we were at resistance and a break downward could play out as this could look like a continuation. And this W pattern that I was suggesting, this kind of W reversal pattern that I was suggesting, does seem to be almost less likely and is kind of seeing to be canceled out. And so we could very much have a prolonged reaccumulation phase as Bitcoin trades sideways to kind of reestablish where it wants to be and find support at these local levels here. We can get very, very bullish again if we start closing above $43,000, I believe, in my opinion. Although I suspect this 0.618 to perhaps even lows of the 200 daily moving average as potential bounce targets for Bitcoin. So long term, still quite bullish. In the short term, we could see this correction play out even more as the fear, uncertainty, and doubt in the market is ever so high, and there's plenty of new traders that were accumulating and buying at what they didn't realize is currently a local top, and so this kind of price action downward is probably quite jarring to new investors. And so I'm so bullish on Bitcoin. Are you bullish on Bitcoin? Are you bullish on XLM? Thank you for hearing my analysis. Thank you for tuning in. Let me know what you're doing with your bags, if you have them. Do you trade? Do you hold? Or do you just watch the price action unfold? Thank you for hearing my analysis. Tune in for the next one. Try EngineeringRobo free with a link in the description. Subscribe here on YouTube. Check out all the social media down below. And tune in next time.